I couldn't imagine taking any photos or video without showing the histogram on the screen. In this video, I'd like to discuss what a histogram is, what it's used for, and how it is used in a shoot. Let's do it. According to Adobe, a histogram is a graph that measures the brightness of an image by representing the frequency of each tone as a value on a bar chart. The horizontal axis moves from pure black on the left side of the histogram through shadows, midtones, and highlights all the way to the brightest white, which is on the right side. And this is correct, but let me explain it differently. A histogram is a chart that will show you brightness levels, where dark levels will be on the left and bright levels will be on the right. Anything in the midtones will be in the middle. I call these bars the mountains because they look like little mountains to me. The height of the mountains represents how many pixels are at that luma range. So if you have tall mountains on the left, that means that you have many pixels on the dark range. Ideally, we want for the mountains to be in the middle of the histogram, not too far to the left and not too far to the right. However, there are exceptions. For example, if you're shooting at night and there are many pixels in the dark range, well, yeah, of course, that would be normal. Also, if you're shooting in bright daylight and shooting something white, then yeah, the mountains will be to the right and maybe even crushing. So what does crushing mean? Well, when you have the mountains all the way to the left and all the way up, then those pixels are completely black. The same if you have them all the way to the right and all the way up. Those pixels would be totally white or overexposed. There's no way to fix this in processing afterwards. Those pixels are gone. So, does that mean the shot is ruined? Well, it depends. Again, if you're shooting something that is white and some pixels are crushing, I wouldn't worry about it. The same goes on the other side. Use your judgment. Now, let's see some examples of histograms and their corresponding images. So I'm doing this in Photoshop because the histogram looks a lot like the histogram that you will find in a drone. And these are video files, but with photo, it works exactly the same. So you have a video file here. I'm just going to play a little bit of it. Now, if we add an adjustment layer here for brightness and contrast, look what happens when I bring the brightness down. Look at the histogram. See how everything in here is just crushing to the left? And this warning sign here, if you hover above it, it just tells you that it will display the histogram with uncached data. So I'm just going to click it. And this is what we have. We have the dark pixels here. And of course, it's a night shot. It's a night drone shot. And you can see the bright lights a little bit here, tiny little bit. I would say that this is exposed correctly, even if all the mountains are all the way to the left, and obviously we have crushed pixels. Let's go to the second clip. If we add an adjustment layer to that one, and again, I'll do one for brightness and contrast, look what happens when I lower the exposure. Look at the histogram. I would say this is poorly exposed. If we go to the other side, then the opposite happens. This is overexposed. So in this particular case, the mountains are better left in the middle. Let's go to the third clip. This one has dark around here and it has bright. Now look at the histogram and let's add an adjustment layer for brightness and contrast. And again, look what happens when I lower the brightness and look what happens when I raise the brightness. So you have to use common sense with all of these. For this, maybe a little bit yay is fine, even if I have some pixels here on the overexposed range. That's because this is white, those waves. So this is actually perfect. Let's go to yet another one. And now let's add an adjustment layer for brightness and contrast. Look what happens when I lower the brightness. Look what happens when I raise it. And of course, you can increase the contrast as well. So look at the histogram. I'm going to click here. Even though a lot of these pixels are on the darker side, I think, for me, that this is exposed correctly. Let's go one more. In this particular one, we have a lot of bright pixels because of the sand. Let's go ahead and add an adjustment layer for brightness and contrast. And same thing, if I increase the brightness, there you go, overexposed, I could in fact decrease it to about yay. I'm not crushing any pixels. I can see the histogram here, and the sand looks a lot better. And finally, let's go to this last clip. And the drone is in the ground, but you can clearly see that this is a sunset. Let's go ahead and add an adjustment layer for brightness and contrast. And again, I would probably process these in Premiere Pro and not in Photoshop, but the histogram in here looks a lot like what the histogram on the drone looks like. So there you go. I could even darken this more. Look how many pixels are getting crushed. And it wouldn't matter because then look at the sun. So what does the perfect histogram look like? There's no telling. It depends on what you're shooting. Having said that, if the mountains are in the middle and not touching either side, I think you're good. When flying my drone, I am always showing the zebra lines. That's the overexposure warning. And I am also showing my histogram. I will not leave it to chance. I need to know that my shots are exposed correctly. Hopefully you found this useful. If you did, then hit like and subscribe. And I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.